Hi, I'm Tom Green, lead designer at Watchtower Games. In this video, we'll be going over unboxing of the game Fallen, and at the end, we'll show you how to set up a game for your first session. So here we have the box, shrunk wrapped, cover art. In the back, we've got more of the art, some of the cards, a simple setup, and some of the game contents. I've already made one cut here to make the shrink wrapping easier to open. Box has a nice matte finish, has a good fantasy feel. Looking at the cover, we have more art on the sides that represent some of our art in the game. Here we have the rulebook. Rulebook is 40 pages, has lots of examples and sample diagrams to walk you through the game. Here we have something about the shadow track. In the very back of the rulebook, you'll also find sections such as teaching Fallen to a new player, enjoying the game, get some little tips to getting the most out of the game, some rules to remember, some more easily forgotten rules to help you out, an index, a card codex, and a challenge summary. Now inside the game we have our critical cards. Here we have an example of the broken back, which makes the hero's ultimate harder to get into play. Here's the back of the critical cards, a little wounded guy who's seen better days. So that's the slot for the critical cards. Another section we have our story cards. These are kind of the heart of the game, and we'll take a closer look at those in just a bit. Comes with 30 of these. We have our tokens. Tokens, we have some wounds, some charges, some experience tokens, a lot of wound tokens, a lot of fortune. These are our main resource in the game, and some more experience. And finally, some larger size reward tokens that the hero and dungeon lord will win throughout the game. In the bottom, in this little cubby section down here, are the character cards. Here we have the Archivist of Souls. He's a dungeon lord. Here's Merace, the sorceress, a hero. Krogarn, the Ogre King. He focuses on just lots of damage as a dungeon lord. Here's Serath, the Pit Fighter. He is one of our heroes. Rannick, the Thief, is another hero. He focuses on stealing resources from the dungeon lord. And finally, we have the Forge Master, who gives augmentations to his creatures to make them stronger. So those fit right there. Excuse me, fit right there in that slot. Comes with dice, 22 custom dice. Dice come in blue. Blue are the weaker of the dice. They have a single sword on 4 sides and a blank on 2 of the sides. You'll use a lot of those throughout the game. Red dice are stronger. They have a sword with some charge symbols to help get your ultimate power going faster. A nice double sword, which is great when you roll that. You have enough for the hero and the dungeon lord. And then you have your core challenge dice. White and black. They're the same. The white are for the hero, the black is for the dungeon lord. They have a lot more symbols where you have to choose. If you have here we have a wound and a charge, you have to choose between the symbols, and they have a lot more double swords, so these are important to your rolls. And then the meat of the game are the decks of playing cards. Comes with 1, 2, 3, and 4 decks. Let's take a look at some of these. The cards open up relatively easily with the wrapping. Top comes right off, and the rest of the wrapping just comes right off. Here we have some omen cards: Transfer Pain, Transmutation, Your Fate is Mine. These are cards that the dungeon lord wins as his big rewards throughout the game. There's the back of the card. Here we have the back of power cards for the dungeon lord. And there's a lot of these cards. These include cards such as the Black Flame. These are different abilities, spells, traps that the Dungeon Lord's going to play throughout the challenges. Choking Gas, Cursed Treasure, Ferocity. Fun little surprises to keep the hero on their toes. So there's 10 for each Dungeon Lord plus another deck of 20 for all Dungeon Lords. So there's a lot of different cards in here. Let's take a look at the second deck. Unwraps pretty fast. Here we have some hero power cards. Courage, Cunning, Fight to the Death, one of my favorites. Back of these, a different symbol than, so here's the hero power card versus the Dungeon Lord's power card to compare the difference. A lot of these, again, 10 specific to each hero with 3 heroes in the game, and then 20 power cards that are part of the core deck that you mix together. In the back here, I also see some of our Shadow Track cards. These represent how light and dark the dungeon is. So here we have Brilliant, some darker Clouded, really dark Dusk, Glowing. That's just some of our really nice art on there. Let's look at this one. One more Shadow Track card. And a lot of skills. A ton of skills. So each character, in this case it's Merace, the sorceress, each character has 3 different skills. This is the blue Arcanist skill for her, the green Evocator, and then the red Sword Mage. So during play, if you're playing as Merace, you can specialize in Arcanist, and as you win challenges and gain experience, you can go deep down into the Arcanist skill line to Arcanist level 1, level 2, or replace those and get Arcanist level 3, where you have an even better power and more dice. Or instead of going deep down just the Arcanist, you could get level 1 of Arcanist and go wide and grab a level 1 of Evocator, and then also pick up maybe a level 1 of Sword Mage. So it's kind of the choice you want to go. Here's Thief skills, Con Artist, Fighter skill, Tactician, Titan, Weapon training. So 9 skills for each of the heroes. Here we have some of our creature cards with some of the great creature art on there. Ember Sentinel, Ogre, Quill Darter. Back of the cards has a color of kind of a greenish blue with the number 2, so these are our level 2 creatures. Here's some of our level 3 creatures. There's the back, and on the front we've got the Behemoth, Dragon, Forge Guardian. The creatures are used by the Dungeon Lord to help win the challenges. So he's going to level up creatures to get stronger and stronger from level 1s to 2s to 3s. And then some of the level 1 creatures that are yellow. Core Viper, Gibbling, the good old-fashioned Goblin, the Husk. And then we also have some treasures. Treasures have the nice art on the back of the treasure chest. These are the rewards the hero wants to score that are really important for the hero to get new gear. There's new weapons. Here we have Beastbane, for example. Armor, such as the Citadel Shield, or just your raw magic items like Crystalline Orb or Elven Boots. Horatian Battle Plate, Horatian Warblade, Mana Ring, lots of different treasure cards in here. And we've got one more deck. Here we have the basic equipment that heroes start with. So some heroes starts with an iron sword. The mage, she starts with a wizard's robe. So these are the equipment you get started, and then you want to find the treasure cards we looked at earlier to replace these. This deck is made up primarily of the final battle cards. So at the end of the game, you're going to draw from this deck here. which has a picture of some evil flame dungeon lord with a hero looking in desperate times. And each dungeon lord comes with 14 final battle cards. At the very end of the game, you're going to draw one at random, read the text to set the scene, some special rules that apply just to this battle card. And in this one, tells it's an agility and it's a hard challenge, and the players battle over this card. You need to win 3 cards to win the game. So we have final battle cards for the Archivist of Souls. These are just the different scenes within the battle: Smoldering Words, Tower of Vellum. Then we have the Forge Masters card, Channel of Magma, Flowing Fire. And then Krogarn the Ogre King, Battle on the Crag, Calculated Rage. So lots of different final battle cards. And then some more Omen cards to round things out for the Dungeon Lord for his reward. Last card type we have to show you are the story cards. I've cut the bottom here to get easier access to it. Game comes with 30 story cards. Here we have card number 1. You can play them in any order, shuffle them all up, and you're just drawing them. It's almost like a random dungeon generator whenever you play, and you're going to play through 3 of these per game. When you do a story card, you just have a title. The Dungeon Lord reads aloud the introduction text, and once the Dungeon Lord finishes reading, he gives the hero the choice of fight them or sneak out when dealing with these thieves. The hero then chooses to sneak out. Dungeon Lord then reads the text and then tells him this is now an agility challenge, and then dice are rolled. And then from there, the hero then has 2 more choices after that roll. Does the hero stomp the weak one or steal from the thieves? And it branches out. If the hero chooses to stomp the weak one, he can then branch out further to bloody melee or run for it. If he does bloody melee, he can branch out to command them to surrender or battle in the South Hall. And then that has a resolution here on the bottom. So just this one card, there are a lot of different paths. The hero could go sneak out and go to steal from the thieves. Steal from the thieves, run for it, and end with up the narrow stairs. Or you could go a completely different direction. And that's just with one hero. You're going to play different heroes with different skills, so there's no one right path through these cards. You're not going to memorize the optimum path through one card because it changes based on what you draw and who you're playing against. So you could pick 3 cards and play them over and over again and never have the same game twice. And the game comes with not 3, it comes with a lot. It comes with 30 different story cards. Different scenarios you're going to run into: Chamber of Mana, Kobold Ambush, Ruined Prison, Betrayed Alchemist, Forgotten Temple. Lots of cool different adventures you're going to have. And at the very back is a screen card. Has a picture of one of our creatures, and here's another picture of a dragon. This just gives the Dungeon Lord a little screen to block so that when he's reading with the hero doesn't see what's on the back of the card because he's got it protected by this one. Just a fun little thing we put in there. So now I'm going to show you how to set Fallen up for your first game. I've already taken all the cards out and put them into their different stacks. Haven't done any shuffling yet, but we're going to get things ready to go for the game. We'll start with picking a hero. We'll choose Merace, the Sorceress. Get some of these other cards out of the way. Now, Merace starts with basic equipment shown on the back of her card. If you can't see it from there, it reads Apprentice Staff, Wizard's Robe, and Torch are the cards she starts with. So we look at our basic equipment cards and set her up with the Torch, Wizard's Robe, and the Apprentice Staff. She also starts with a skill. So here we have Merace's skills of Arcanist, Evocator, and Sword Mage. I'm going to choose the Arcanist level 1 as my starting skill. So I'll take those 3 cards with the number level 1 Arcanist showing on the top, put it right there, and put the other 2 skill cards face down, 2 skills face down off to the side, in case she needs those later on. The rest of the cards we'll put in the box. This is her treasure cards that she'll get throughout the game. These represent the different bonuses she'll come across for armor and robes and magic items. Shuffle those up, put those off to the side. Another important thing is her power deck. So the game comes with a 20 card deck for all heroes, part of the core deck. These cards. You shuffle those up, put it to the side, then find her 10 character specific power cards. You know they're for her because it'll have her portrait on the bottom right hand corner. So what you're going to do is you've got 20 base cards with 10 character specific cards. You're going to create a 20 card deck, 10 from here and her 10 specific ones. And I'll build that now. The extra core 10 cards you can put off to the side, and that creates more variety for future games. You're not sure exactly what cards you're going to get. So you shuffle, 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 and put those cards off to the side. Her ultimate ability is called Arcane Rift. It gives her bonus dice, as well as possible extra card draws. And it's going to charge up throughout the game by putting these charge tokens on it. Once it's fully charged, she can use it to gain those dice. And then at the start of the game, she starts fully charged. Another thing I like to do early on is set up the shadow track off on the side. The shadow track represents the state of the dungeon. It represents how much evil is going on. When the hero removes traps, kills creatures, or completes their objectives, the shadow track will move from the middle of the shadow track towards the lighter side. Here we have brilliant, luminous, glowing, and then the dark side, clouded, dusk, and night. As the dungeon lord creates more evil, summons more traps and curses, the shadow track will start to shift towards the dark. When the shadow track is in the dark, the dungeon lord gets a bonus to his power cards. They cost less, and the dungeon lord's ultimate ability becomes stronger. When the shadow track shifts to the light on the hero's side, the dungeon lord loses those bonuses, and the hero's power cards become cheaper, and the hero's ultimate becomes stronger. The start of the game's quest card will tell us where the shadow track starts. So now we're looking at the table from the dungeon lord's side, and we're going to go ahead and set up that dungeon lord. So we're going to go ahead and choose Krogarn, the Ogre King. Let's go ahead and move the box and rules out of the way. Now, Krogarn also has power cards just like the hero. So in the deck, there are 20 cards, part of the Dungeon Lord's core deck. And there we go. Take those cards, shuffle them up, and then you find Krogarn's 10 character-specific cards. Things like War Drum, Last Strike, Tribal Healing, things any good Ogre King would be able to do. And you again build a total of a 20 card deck. So we mix these two together. Krogarn has cards that are more brutal, whereas the Forge Master has cards that are augments, that augment his creatures, that makes them more dangerous. And then the Archivist has a lot of spells, part of his power card group. You shovel those up and put them off to the side. These are Krogarn's Omen cards. These are his special rewards. You shuffle those, get them ready for play later on. Then we want to get our creatures ready. So there are 3 creature levels. Put those right there. Level 1s, level 2s, level 3s. Dungeon Lord starts with 4 creatures. You want to shuffle those decks, obviously. So these are the 4 starting creatures Krogarn has for this game. Each creature has a different amount of dice they provide during the challenge, and each creature has a special ability, like Quick Strike for the Core Viper. During agility and strength challenges, he can deal a point of damage to the hero just right off the bat. During the game, Krogarn's going to earn experience points that he can use to upgrade. So he might upgrade the Core Viper, remove it from play, and bring in a new creature like the Thalassian Keeper, which is a level 2, stronger, better dice, a stronger ability. Later on, he might upgrade the level 2 to gain a level 3 creature, and so on. So Krogarn's set. He also starts with 3 charges with his ultimate ready to go. On the back of his card is the quest card, which starts the whole adventure, and it lets us know what the shadow track starts at. In this case, let's say it said clouded on the back of his card, so we know where it's at. He wants to get his dice ready to go. He starts with his 2 black dice, 3 red, 6 blue, kind of put them off to the side. Hero wants to do the same. 2 white, 3 red, and 6 blue off to the side. We've got tokens. We have a bunch of wound tokens here. I like to split these up, put half on the Dungeon Lord's side, the other half on the hero's side. Some extra charge tokens, and then some fortune, which is the primary resource we use during the game. Each character starts with 5 fortune. Merace also starts with 5 fortune. And her skill Arcanist says when she learns the skill, she starts with 1 bonus fortune at the start of the game. By the way, if you're punching out your tokens, and as you're punching them out, if they don't completely come out of the token sheet, don't pull them out. I find it easy just to twist, and then they come right off, and don't do any tears to your tokens, just in case they don't punch out. Here we have the critical cards. Krogarn's going to use those whenever the hero's armor gets breached. That wizard robe that Merace has can take 8 wounds. Once she takes that 8th wound, the card still stays in play. The wounds are removed, so we can start taking more wounds, but he gets an experience point and she takes a critical. In this case, it would be weakened. Now her ultimate takes an additional charge to put into play, and that would be there for the rest of the game. These tend to be really painful. Go ahead and bring the experience points near the middle so we don't forget. Also want to get our reward cup, cup not included, and put our reward tokens that the players are going to win throughout the game into the reward cup. Shuffle those around. Each player starts with 2 of their power cards, so they draw 2, and that is part of their hand of cards. And most players have a hand size of 3. Krogarn would also draw 2 cards, and he is ready to go. They'd read the back of his card, the quest card, set the shadow track, and then the Dungeon Lord would grab 3 random cards from the story card deck. The back card, the screen card, is here, which he can use to block so the hero can't see it. And then he would start off reading we're going to adventure in the Ascension story and start reading the text, and then the game begins. They start making choices, the hero makes the choices, dice are rolled, they continue to battle, battling for experience to level up hero skills, gain treasures. Dungeon Lord's going to try and gain experience to level up monsters and gain the Omen cards. And then all throughout, they're going to keep battling until they get to the final battle. Once all 3 story cards have been played, there's the final battle. That's the last deck we need to set up. So what we do is we take the introduction to the final battle, has a little gray thing on there for Krogarn called the War Den. And then we find his 13 final battle cards, shuffle those up, put them off to the side near the hero, because the hero is going to read those cards. And then during the game, these cards are going to be put in the middle of the table. They're going to continue to battle with the challenges, and your goal is to claim 3 of these final battle cards to win the game. So that's a look at how you set up the game of Fallen, and we hope you enjoy the game as much as we did making it.